and welcome to the first follow-up tutorial. This one is for the grab instancer. So if you've not watched the grab instancer tutorial, I suggest you first watch that before you watch this one, in case you don't know what a grab instancer is. However, under the assumption you know what the grab instancer is and how we made it, I'm now going to walk over to where we made it in the last video. And over here, we still have our Flux tip maker, which is the text, and it's still open on the outline, and we still have the grab instancer right here, which directly references right here the snapping ProtoFlux tool, and if we grab this, we get one of them. Now, what we want to do now is we want to make it so that if we ever change the first slot in here, it actually changes what tool we get. So what we're going to do here is we're going to first grab a ProtoFlux tool, which is the second tool in the Resonite Essentials tools. We are going to grab template and generate a drive, reference drive specifically. Next, we're going to need the template folder here, so we grab the slot there and generate a reference. And then we need to find what is the child of this slot, the first child specifically. So we just go to Browse Nodes, then we go into Slots, and Get Child. So we spawn that out by double tapping, hook get the instance, which is slot, into here. Child index by default is 0. We know this because if we grab this value here, and we press secondary, it spawns out a little node, and that tells us that the default value is in fact 0. 0 is the first slot, so we don't actually need to have any node connected there. Next, we simply hook this up into here, and we can verify in here that yes, this is regularly snapping ProtoFlux tool. And over here, we also see that it's now purple, because if it's purple, that means it's driven. Since we're driving it here, it's now purple. Now that we've done this, we can actually swap over to the development tooltip over here, select an existing Flux tip, for example, go into the inspector, go to ProtoFlux tool, which is the root of it. Don't want to pose this. Grab this, put it into the template folder, reset its values just like we did in the other one, and then in order to make this be the first child, we'll set an order offset here of -1, which will make it appear before our UV snapping ProtoFlux tool in the hierarchy. So then we can simply grab here, and oh, we still get UV's tooltip instead of the ProtoFlux tool. Now, why is that? Well, it's actually rather simple. Some nodes will actually not update live. So for example, if I was to now pull out this value here again, you'll see that now it updated to ProtoFlux tool. Now there's ways of getting around that with either writing the value on a timer, for example, if you want to be very slow about it, or if you really need to, you can go to Browse Nodes, Utility, Continuous Changing Relay, and we'll get value, chirality, instead of the actual correct one. Hook this up like this, and you see this automatically converted to the right type. And now, if this here is changed, it'll automatically update here. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is if your goal is to swap between different tools, it's probably not best actually to modify the offset here, but instead just keep this at 0. And as you can see, now I get the Ryubi's tip again because it's actually updated. And the reason why is instead of changing the order offset of every single tool, we can just go to the child index here, and if we change the child index to 1, we get the normal Flux tip, and if we set it to 0, we get Ryubi's variant. If you want to set them at specific indexes, you can simply use order offset. For example, let's say we want ProtoFlux tool at the first index, so we'll call this order offset 1, just for clean values, and then Ryubi's snapping tool will be 2. And then we could also grab the development tool here, make a duplicate of it. Oop. Select it, open it in the inspector, go all the way to the top, dev tool, grab it and drag it over into the template folder, reset its values, and then simply give it the order offset free. This makes sure that they'll always be exactly in this order, so if I now access the slot number 2, it'll give me the dev tip. Now, one thing to note here obviously is that 1, 2, free, 0, 1, 2. If it's hard for you to wrap your head around these values, you could initially use a little node in operators, which is sub, and then we need integer, or we just generate it. So this is specifically right now int and int2, but we'll just generate a pure int1 from it. Usually you'd find it down here in value sub and then integer here. And then we can just remove 1 from this value. And if you do this, you can just access them with 1 to get the first one, which is the regular one, 2 to get UVs, and 3 to get the dev tip. And yeah, it's that simple. Now, I do recommend not doing this. It helps you at first, but it's a lot better to just get in the habit of actually understanding how these indexes work and that they do in fact start at 0. This is mainly just a little help for if you're working on a list, for example, and you want the list to actually show the right value, and you don't want to do a bunch of extra stuff, so you just modify the actual array value at the beginning. Alright, so I hope that this helps you in setting up instancers faster, because this also means that if we duplicate the instancer and swap out the tool in there and rename the text, we can easily make a bunch of different instances for a bunch of different tools. Or even toys, or even boxes. You could make an instancer with boxes. The sky's really the limit. You can do whatever you want with this instancer. But yeah, I hope you liked the video. Any suggestions, please put them in the comments. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!